Hallelujah, give me the heart, yeah. In the morning when I wake up, in the night when I wake up, I will lift up my voice to heaven and give you the highest praise. Hallelujah to my King. Hallelujah to my Father. Hallelujah to my Jesus. I bow before the throne. When I look at all the wonder and I see all the creation, the beauty of the universe, you never, never change. You never, never lie. You never, never change. You never, never care. Hallelujah to my Jesus. Hallelujah. 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 Hey, hey. Hallelujah. Hey. Giving, hallelujah, hey. God is praise, hallelujah, hey. Giving the highest praise, hallelujah, hey. Giving the highest praise. Hey, come let's pray, Jehovah. Come let's worship Jehovah. He deserves the praise. Come let's praise Him. He deserves everything. Oh, the worshiping. Oh, He gave me life. I will praise His name. I'm here to praise my God, oh, because He gave me life. Come celebrate, come jubilate, come and worship Him. He deserves the praise. Hallelujah, giving the higher praise. Hallelujah, giving the higher praise. Hallelujah, giving, hallelujah, the highest praise. Hallelujah, giving the highest praise. Yeah, hallelujah, giving the highest praise. Ooh, hallelujah, oh, yeah, yeah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah to my Jesus. Hey, hallelujah, sing praises to Jehovah. Lift up your hands and worship. Lift up your voice and pray. Hallelujah. I lift up my life for Jesus. I will worship you, Yahweh, Yahweh. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah to Jesus.
Okay, good evening, folks. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for sharing your evenings with us. I'm Mcss of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to welcome our viewers, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us here. Today is Sunday. Pretty beautiful evening here. In the East Coast, we say good evening to our own mentor, Amos George. He's a senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio, but he's currently out on family matters, so it's understandable. So we are here this evening to have our conversation here as usual. I am Mcss of the New England Bureau. Hopefully our mentor Mike Danta will be joining us from inside Liberia, and we're going to be having a conversation here as well. So, but as usual, the most progressive, the liberal progressive of this network is here. Hopefully, we're going to have a conversation. I'm not sure how many of you are going to be in love with this conversation here, but we strongly feel this is one of the key factors and some of the factors that help to shift the conversations in our country. And so recently, the president of the Republic of Liberia, George Weah, President Dr. George Weah, let me just add that title there before I'm held in contempt, on the 23rd precisely, There was a proclamation announcement from the official website of the executive mansion, official resident of the President of the Republic of Liberia, naming this guy. He's one of our own, Professor Asese Labo Zawolo, as the nominee for the Monrovia Consolidated School System, MCSS. He is, if confirmed by the Liberian Senate, he will take charge of the school system, the Monrovia Consolidated School System, that is, in Monrovia, within the Monrovia belt. And so he will be in charge. A long-time advocates of school for education, civil liberties, and so many. He's a long-time contributor here of the Liberia Public Radio. So Professor Zawolo was recently nominated, and so it's fair to give a conversation today. But in the meantime, let me bring in the most elaborate on this network, Liberty Party-based partisan. He sent me something that was not signed by the party chairman. He did his own signature twice. And when he defied me, I'm going to put it out here this evening. I intend not to do that. But let me just put that out. How can you claim to be a card holder of an institution? No president, no secretary. You went ahead and perfectly signed everything. And then he made a mistake. He said he made a mistake. He sent me the wrong stuff. Seriously? Let me bring him and give him the fair share of the conversation. The most liberal on this network, Samson Bloku Branto, is the host of Conversation with Samson To right here, podcast, engineer by profession as well, playing multiple roles here. He will be here as usual for us to have a conversation. Deliberate. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. So, and thank you for having me again. And I hope we will have a fruitful discussion, which of many of you have already started on the wrong foot, but that's okay. That's okay. That's who you are. That's why you guys conservatives. That's what you guys try to do to the liberals. You try to knock them off to their talking point, which in my case, that would not be successful. So thank you for having me on here tonight. Let's get it going.
How can you say we were starting a good footing and you the first to start throwing the rock at me? So the possibility I must also come down. It's a warning. It's an alert that the liberal does have a hidden agenda here as usual. So I don't relate. I'm not going to buy into that. We're going to have a fruitful discussion here. Okay. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. So. Thank you very much. And I think the topic here tonight of our own brother and our own family, LPR family member, has been elevated to a certain position to help alleviate some of the educational challenges in Liberia. That is wonderful news to hear.
Yeah. And I think it's important we give this conversation who is Professor Zawolo and the qualification, the competence he brings to this table. Most of the time we talk here, we say, this person is not competent, this person is non-qualified, this person is wrongfully placed in position. But I know Zawolo, Professor Zawolo, before even where his appointment, he has been a contributor here on the Liberia Public Radio. He's a strong citizen. He also made a full disclosure of who he is, what he represents. It's not like you put a hook there that you are Liberty partisan base here in the USA. Probably we are starting with going to just exactly what you said because you open it up. So let me just close it right on you now. So he's not that kind of person. Zawolo is he's a sedition. He has not hid his identity. He's been talking about that. So, but what is important, and we're going to do a backtrack here on some of the things that he has involved in. And before you remember, during the heat of the election, he started being volunteering on this network here as a contributor, or even ordinary guest. And later on, we asked him for his community services, and he jumped right on board. Okay, let's start the intro on this one. What was your initial reaction when you heard, when that news popped up from Liberia, that the president of the Republic of Liberia has topped Professor Asese Zawolo as superintendent of the Monrovia Consolidated School System? Of course, I'm also a direct beneficiary of the Morel Consolidated School System from the William V.S. Tubman High School. The office is right within the proximity of THI, if you were to call it. And that morning, my phone was going off crazy that Professor Zawolo, is being named as the superintendent designate pending confirmation by the Liberian Senate. What was your instinct?
Well, immediately when I saw that on the social media forum, I immediately called and just to confirm, and he did confirm that, and which I was very happy. But I had a little bit sort of a reservation, to be honest with you, because he's more than qualified.
Reservations?
Yes. I had a reservation.
You are trying to get politics into the educational process.
Mr. So, you're not going to put words in my mouth. Let me express myself freely.
You guys behave,
Mr. So. Like I said, the CDC professor is well qualified to be the teacher of anything, even LU position. He's well qualified, but I have reservation. Now, in terms of my own concern, these are a few things that I have concern with, and I just want to lay it out here very quickly. First, it was too late. This young man should have been appointed from day one because he has a credential and he has a passion and he has been willing to help the educational system in Liberia. As you know, he also has his own school in Liberia. That's how much he wanted to help the young people in Liberia to be able to have some serious and solid education. And I know that for a fact. But the fact that it was late, I have that kinds of concern. A second concern that I have is what will happen with all of the jealousy within the circle of the Dr. Weah government.
Let me hold you there.
Let me finish my concern, then you can come. Don't hold me right now. Like I said, I'm not here for kumbaya this evening. I'm here to speak up my mind. The jealousy, I hope it doesn't come his way. And I don't think Professor Zachary is going to be one of those that are going to say, so say one, so say all. And I'm hoping that the fact that he has been called, that the like of Samuel Tuer, the like of Honorable McGill, will give him the free hand for him to operate and try to implement some of the things that he has learned on this side, to try to implement in the Liberian school system some of the things that he has experienced on this side. Don't try to hook him and what have you, and try to do something. Let him do his job. This is what I'm concerned with.
This is the Liberia Public Radio. The conversation is about to go off hand. Welcome. The talking point is about to start. Okay, we want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe, wherever you are in Liberia. Our man Mike Dan is there, and all of our beautiful followers across the globe. We say thank you so much, Mike. Long-time friend, all of our good followers. Mr. Davis, Robert Davis, Big Joe, a long-time schoolmate from Gardnersville, Stephen Tower Estate. The interest of this conversation, if you are following this conversation here, and you believe in the enhancement aspect of the educational process in Liberia, I want you, if you want to participate, just throw your email link right here on the live view, and we will also bring you here because the Libra is about to go off, and I'm not going to allow him to do that. But let's see this here. Who is Mcss Zawolo? He started this journey a long time. The Liberals, let's take a little bit backtrack here.
Please.
Professor Zawolo here, and we will get a ball rolling.
Thank you.
Well, teachers helping teachers solve Liberia's most challenging problem is the theme of this mathematics workshop, and I've learned that we've assembled a number of math teachers across Liberia here at the Pinzio.
And by the way, courtesy of KMTV, this is a long-time image here, but let's listen.
So the official opening is just going to take place now, although the teachers are taking a pre-evaluation this all-important workshop here organized by Few Liberia. So we now take you to the official opening ceremony of the program.
Ready? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me take this time to first of all thank my God, my Creator, and my Maker for providing me the opportunity to come to Liberia and give back to my people. Liberia doesn't include me. I owe Liberia, and so this is one way I can pay Liberia what it did for me. So before we go any further, we want to invoke the presence of God. Then the musicians around here who want to give us a brief word of prayer. All right, go ahead.
Okay, we're going to be doing them by piecemeal. We're going to be doing them by piecemeal. Let me bring in here. That was courtesy of KMTV. Professor Zawolo took them a couple of years ago, went back. He's a mathematician. To conduct a workshop. Maybe if you want, I think I need to put it back there. Let people get a sense of what he was doing. Is that, it makes sense, the liberal?
I'm with you, Mr. So I'm with you. This is all about the professor this evening.
Okay, let's see.
Let me take this time to introduce a few people. We'll be very fast and go on. So basically, the workshop we're having today is being sponsored by the Foundation for Equity and Excellence in Education in Liberia, for short, Field Incorporated. Field Incorporated is based in Kakata, Margibi County. That's why it was originally established in the United States. It was established on May 15th, several months after I celebrated my official 50th birthday. So my siblings celebrated me, and I wanted to honor my country and give back. That's why we started Field. So Field works for students and teachers. Our goal is to make education affordable, accessible, and available in Liberia. And we continue to pursue that dream for the full time of our life. So, quickly, let me introduce you, and I will give him the chance to speak. So, one of the people who made this possible, we have several of our board members present. We have Mr. Michael Walker, who's present. He's a co-chair of the board of directors, and we have Mr. Anthony Potter. He's one of the members of the board of directors. He's there in the background, making sure you guys have food today and they're working. So I will turn it over before I introduce the rest of the people. I will turn it over to Mr. Walker, our co-chair of the board, to make some brief remarks, and then we can proceed from there.
Thank you very much. Well,
okay.
All
right. Let's see here. The liberal, are you there?
Yes, I am, Mr. So.
Okay. That was the professor there. He said something. Liberia don't owe me. I owe Liberia. That is a critical component. That's the uniqueness of Professor Zawolo. I owe Liberia. Liberia doesn't owe me. So basically, what he's telling us with his advancement and with things that he learned, he's obliged as a citizen, as a good citizen, to go and give back to his country. Your reaction?
Well, that's once again, that's in line with the CDC mantra, to be honest with you. Because one time here we heard Dr. Weir telling the supporters, don't thank me. I should be thanking you for giving me the opportunity to lead and do these things that I'm doing. It's because of you. So it's the same line here with with the professor, telling his people that they don't owe. I mean, they don't owe him. He owed them, and every one of us feel like that. Those of us that was born in the country of Liberia, drink the Liberian people good water, give us life, and so we feel indebted to the entire country. And so whatever opportunity that is given, people are willing to do it. However, let me quickly point it out, Mr. Soul, is those people that think say they're entitled, and because of the kinds of entitlement feeling, they refuse to involve other Liberians that have the ability to move that country forward. As a result of that, we continue to suffer. But here comes the good professor, who is now hopefully will take this lead and bring the city in Monrovia, the city schools in Monrovia, to a level that have not been seen before. It can only happen if he has a true cooperation, the backing of this government.
Okay, I know you try to be in two places, but it's kind of late here. Let's tap into the expertise of our own Mike Downs. He's a journalist and also head of the Liberia Public Radio Management team. He's currently in studio in Monrovia, in the West African state, specifically Mosorado County, where this thing going to be at. Mike, good evening.
Well, good evening, Alfonso. Sorry, I've been facing some little difficulty with getting not knowing the problem I was facing was actually from another online station I was listening to. Okay, I just discovered that.
Okay. Welcome. It's better later than never. Welcome.
Yes, I'm very much quite enlightened, very much delighted to be on the show tonight. Alfonso, it's some 21 minutes past 10 o'clock in Monrovia, and I'm here in the studio making sure that people of Liberia can get what we are saying. Well, it's quite interesting, the topic that you embark on, Professor Zawolo. The name, it sounds very much professional, though personally not much presumptive with him, but again he promises to be a leader or somebody who after some years of quagmire at the MCSS, the Monrovia Consolidated School System, who is bringing on board some new ideas that will transform MCSS school to a new level. Remember, the MCSS school system came to existence in 1964 when the government of Liberia signed an MOU with the San Francisco school system in the U.S., where so that there can be a school system to that will be reporting to the government, to the Ministry of Education, instead of schools that were just going strictly to the Ministry of Education. So there were no school system according to the history so far. We've been diving into myself being a product of MCSS to have studied MCSS school system for the past years as well. So the vision of this whole institution is to promote school system in areas of science, technology. Remember, Alfonso, when I went to the MCSS school, I first decided to do electronics. And then when I got in 11th grade, I left electricity, to be specific, and then went into journalism. That's how I started my whole career, some little over 15 years ago now. And so MCSA has been so far since its formation over almost 60 years ago, has been a premier school system in Liberia. So it has been yearning for a leader that will bring some new dynamism into the system. Recently, remember, the system was rocked by series of demonstrations led by the instructors of the school, and so they were calling for new system. I mean, for changes, for new idea that will further boom the system, that will make the system to a level that Liberians do appreciate. So It is just our hope and aspiration that with the coming of Professor Zawolo, some new dynamisms will be seen, will be put into place. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to dive into that, but that's just a little minimal open. Do you have a device playing there? Maybe you want to lower it. I'm getting an echo here. If you get a device on, maybe look at, I'm getting feedback from my end. Okay, that's a little component of that, but the sources, it doesn't matter who is placed in charge, but that support has to come from the top, logistically, financially, and making the institution to be independent in decision making, and not to be kind of micromanaged or somebody higher up there. So that's the challenge. I'm talking to folks with inside the MCS. I'm a direct beneficiary of the Moravia Consolidated School System from Todmehar. I look at that building to right within the proximity of Todmehar. That is the new now. The liberal is quick to jump on here now, and so you seems to be playing into his narrative. So that's something that really resonating with him there. So the liberal.
Yes.
Let me bring you in here. Because I've done some I've done some searches, and I look around. You know, the job market now is sort of in demand, no matter where you are, and not to mention somebody of a profession like Professor Zawolo, who is an adjunct professor at the Norton College within the Washington Bell, there, Virginia. That's huge. I was just doing the random check-in. I take home approximately of a professor is like is not less than $10,000. 10,000 United States dollars. I'm not talking about some of the exorbitant or things that accompanied within. Now,
a salary of a professor.
Yeah.
Are you saying a salary of a professor in the U.S.?
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about a joint professor. So like he is case now. It might be various according to state of Washington, D.C. is a very costly area. The liberal there, I guess you get a greater sense of it. What am I going through here? Because to resettle such a person, the government, there must be an ultimate sacrifice. And Mike, you can speak to that before, and I'll bring in the liberal. I know those days when I was in Firestone and all of that, they were responsible, MTSS teachers, payment, everything. But our understanding now, the system is being consolidated. That is going on government payroll. So this is where all of these challenges is coming from and stuff like that. Salary perhaps not coming in a timely fashion. Now, so it doesn't matter who you take, but if you walk in a door and that door cannot open for you to come out, if you go in there close for good, that's a trouble. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. We have not had a chance to have a conversation, but I'm quite sure the professor is going to be having a lengthy conversation with the government, the GOL, to make sure this is done. So talk to me a little bit. If you have an idea, let me just bring in the library. We pave the way too. Is the MCSS payroll is it under the government of Liberia? Unlike before, they were, they had their own sort of autonomous, and their pay system were coming from elsewhere.
Well, the MCSS is currently under the government of Liberia as one of the autonomous agencies of the government of Liberia that has some direct salary structure, unlike other schools that are under the Ministry of Education. That do not receive direct salary, a direct budget like the MCSS. So the MCSS, remember, is the first school system in the country. Is the first public school system in the country. So it has been very much proactive in time past in receiving grants. Receiving budget from the government of Liberia. Remember, I can recall some 2 to 3 fiscal years back, the MCSS budget was something around $10 million. But later on, it was followed slashed due to some constraint by the government of Liberia. And then later on, since then, in fact, they have been crying for budget allocation. There were new instructors that were employed, and also some new activities that came to being. So budget constraint is one thing that the MCSS has been crying for. It is what so far has led to some of those demonstrations by, or some of those go slow action by the instructors at MCSS schools. So
Okay.
again, the government of Liberia needs to double up, if I may say this, to double up to ensure that the school system is well taken care of in terms of budgetary allocation. Because without budget, some of those vocational attachment to the school, they don't actually work. You remember, we are talking about over 20, a little over 22 schools, 23 to be exact. If Professor Zawolo will be confirmed by the Liberian Senate, so far he will be the 20th superintendent of the MCSS.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let me bring in the Liberal.
Yeah, Mr. So.
Do I have the permission to temporarily use you as a case study here to make my argument here? I don't know whether you'll be honest and open to do that.
That's fine. That's fine. I committed no crime, and even if I commit crime, I can only answer to the law. I can't answer to man, not you with your conservative view, and not you, not Professor Zawolo, not the center right Amos George. I can only answer to the law. So go ahead, use it.
So why do you have to go all around?
I'm just telling you, I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of Professor Zawolo. I'm not afraid of Amos George. But your name, fame, my mom, my name, fame, your mom. You can go ahead and use whatever case.
This sort of name callings is syndrome with you guys here, but okay, let's leave that here because a lot of you this Sunday seems not to be good with you. So let's do this here. Right after this program, the president of the Republic of Liberia managed to listen, and for example, and just for discussion purposes, and the Liberal has been calling that he's willing to help. You always and unveil yourself to help as an engineer by profession, and the president calls you, say, look, okay, I'll be the road elevation this, and the road got to come this, and the soil is not meant to keep water, blah, 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 blah. Something told, I want you to come at the Ministry of Public Works to be maybe technical advisor or maybe minister proper, not the minister that is acting. I'm not saying they should dismiss her, but the job, anything I can go. And they call you. What comes to mind? I'm saying this to say you earn something good here. And if you want, I know you can't disclose your salary. How much around engineers making California, like restate there, for example?
For example, engineer here in the state, besides me now, I'm talking about myself.
But no, that's what you're saying. I think let's see.
No, but I'm not good engineer. The Google engineer there, they're around anywhere from 125 to 150, 175, and so forth.
So approximately take home monthly is because the reason I'm saying this here,
you're talking maybe $8,000-9,000.
$8,000-9,000. Okay, all right, and I know.
But that's not me. That's not me. I don't take that kind of money home. That's not me. Please don't.
Okay. So all right. That's for conversation.
But Mr. So let me piggyback what Mr. Don was speaking about here earlier. And once again, as he correctly stated, the government of Liberia, if they want to take these things serious, because if the MCSS seem to be having some series of issues recently. Now, I'm not saying a negative form now, but when it comes to Professor Zawolo, we know who he is. This is a man that had Uncle Cummings on here, and he asked a question. Why did you put yourself in a hammock and people carrying you around? That's how straightforward he is. He's not somebody that will be pushed around. He's not somebody that will bite his tongue. Follow more. The position he's leaving to go take on the challenges in Liberia. He's leaving behind a lots of stuff. So in order for you to make that transition comfortable for him and for the people who he's going to be. It's not necessarily money. Professor Zagro already taking his own money from his own pocket to educate Liberians. So it's not like he's there to say, this is what I want. But when he put a program together, a program that's going to help young Liberians in the Morea school system, that program must be investigated, must be reviewed by the Minister of Finance, by whoever the review process they have. But at the end of the day, Honorable McGill, Honorable Tua should not block it because they think they have the school system is not a priority. Because if you do that, you're hindering his progress. You're also tying his hands. And because this is not what I don't believe Professor Zagro will allow that. Because if he put a budget together, he would you ask him to justify the budget, and he would do so. And the budgeting process, even though I'm not an economist or whatever, but budgeting process, I believe it entails negotiation. So if these people come into Professor Zagro and try to negotiate in true faith, then I think our people will benefit from whatever experience Professor Zagro had. But if they come in and come because, they meant he close to the president, they meant he close to Jefferson Kochi, they meant he's this, and you come in with a jealous mind, the professor is not going to put up with that. The professor doesn't really need job in Liberia to survive. None of us. But he's taking on, I believe, he's taking on this position as means of contributing back to the society that help him to be who he is. And let the people that are around, let them make it easier for all of us. Because if you allow the professor to flourish with the ideas that he has, the young people that are going to be underneath, he's not going to be the only administrator of the system. So the young people that he's going to have with him,
I think it's a serious challenge that he's going to undertake because
I agree, and I think he himself is quite aware of it. But what I'm saying here is this: the challenge is going to be enormous. There's no question asked. But from the other side, from the financial support, if the money is there, let's give him the opportunity to do what he has to do. Now, Samuel Tue and Honorable McGill, they are now somebody you can push over either. They will look at the budget. They will review the budget. That's fine. But you must do so with good faith to say, we don't see this thing happening right now. Be honest with the person you're going to negotiate. But don't come out and pour one of those, what's her name? Esther, bond contest superintendent nonsense they did with her that one time, bringing her up according to her, putting her on the bench and trying to question her as though she's in the Supreme Court. That's not going to fly.
Okay, let's put this into perspective, Mr. To. For example, let's look at the summary of the budget. Public administration sector account for $242 million out of the new budget. Municipal government account for $24 million. Transparency and accountability, which has to do with all of the anti-graft institutions, they account for $30 million. Plus security and rule of law, $92 million. Plus health sector, $74.7 million. Social development and services, it account for $9 million. Energy and environmental sector account for $18 million. The education sector, which Professor Zawolo fund himself, it account for $74.758 million. So it's a money is from this money the MCSS budget will be allocated. Maybe later on during the course of the show we'll go to the specific for the MCSS, but just by sector, this is how it is. Infrastructure development.
Then, Mike, what you're saying there, then this is also for on our brother himself to make sure that if looking at this 74.75 million that you talk about, I'm sorry we don't have our, but both of us have our budget already. The stuff we were going to be discussing in a little day.
So what I want us to do, maybe, we're going we get a sense of that. We want to get people with the expertise, and we're going to go.
But let me conclude on this. Let me make my point here, Mr. So, please, if you don't mind. So the point that I'm making, Mike, I think it will behoove the incoming superintendent now to somehow look at what this budget entails, and also be honest with the people, to look at the program that he's going to put in place that will benefit the people. Perhaps he can come in and put in programs that are not quite up to par right now, because the money is not there. But that he should be able to review. And he's a very smart young man. Professor Zawolo, CDC professor that is. Professor Zawolo is a very smart young man.
You see, this is how
I have the right to say what I want to say. Professor Zawolo is a very smart young man.
Are you learning from Prophet Key now? You have the right to say what you want to say. Is that
Mr. So, this is a freedom. This is a freedom that I enjoy here in the United States. I'm not in Liberia for them to come knock into my door if they want. So please let me enjoy myself. So, but on a very serious note, the professor is very smart, and he's not going to take on something that perhaps is not going to benefit the people. Because all I know, remember, this guy started in Soviet Union. Everything about him is about how to help people move their life forward. Everything, ever since that I've been knowing the professor, through ULAB program or whatever program that he's been on, it's always about speaking for the people that have less. And so I'm very happy that he has the position, and he's going to show.
All right, let's do some backtracking here, because sometimes it's very sudden. We have very short-sighted people. Sometimes they make judgment out of ignorance, and because their ties with politicians or so, sometimes they are not honest. They don't have that political ideology. But the professor, he's an advocate for education, social justices. He involved actively in politicking, and he's one of those that are bearing the torchlight. And something plays into the narrative of ANC Anthony Gay, because when I send that post out, the exact words of Anthony Gay deployed, that's exactly what this liberal came here tonight to say. Oh, it's too late. Oh, it's late that you are appointed Professor Zawolo, this and that. I don't know what is the purpose. But this is Professor Zawolo here in one of our conversations here on the Liberia Public Radio. We keep a record of everything here. Let's watch this and see.
Hello? 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 Yeah, okay, hold on, let me just pull you on. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. All right, Professor, hold on 1 second. I have a caller on the line here. Callers, please call your name and tell us where you're calling from.
Yeah, this is
Okay, there you go. KZ Manoport, he's one of our he's currently in the race heading for Capitol Hill, and he's been the young progressive, and I'm quite sure, I have no doubt, here is something about education here. Definitely he wants to contribute here. Okay, KZ, first of all, thank you for calling from inside Liberia at this time of the hour. It means a lot to me, and I'm quite sure anybody who looks between the line, the professor here is here because you are a student, you just graduated, and that's not the end of the role here. What's your take this evening, KZ?
Yeah, I think you
Okay, we're going to do a piecemeal here. That's the professor that all he been saying, everything is education, education, education. He went back home to train the teachers, prepare them for wire and all of that. Those are the things that he has been involved in. So when you liberal to come out to say it's late, I don't know which planet Earth you're from or you are speaking from now, I think what is important for us, not to beg the government, but to compel them. That's their job. Because when you have an educated society, when you have a vibrant society, especially his areas of sciences, the country will be vibrant, will be innovative, will be creating, so will be inventing. That is passion. But what is key here?
Mr.
What
So,
is
let
key
me
here?
take you on
I
this.
coming. I know you want to take me on. You always take me on, and you never win it. But that's okay. But what is important here? The ability of GOL. I'm interested to know the length of conversations in depth, not on the surface, because this guy, believe me, he's not in desperation. He's comfortable. Everywhere now, I was talking to folks around VA area there, friends and everybody there. They are looking for more teachers. They are looking for more professors. So the more you work, the more you will pay. So when you want to resettle such a person, believe me, it's almost like quality versus quantity. Liberia is looking for quality. And in order to get quality, you have to put in more. Then I'm about to play you caring. I mean, you understand what I'm coming from?
Right now, why will you even call the fish name there this evening, Mr. So?
Yeah, because by play, anybody you can go anywhere and tell about a catfish they're trying to pull out here. And I'm also agree why this guy, but he being his position. But my only concern, and that's the legitimate one that you express, and I've been talking to other folks within the Ministry of Education and even the MCSS. It's not just only calling on somebody, but their willingness to support and give all of the resources required. Because with all the stuff that he's doing here, if you go in there and you make him toothless, that he can't run the institutions, he can do it the right way, and you want to, oh no, okay, even though they don't want, but let manage one, you want to be grabbing it by pieces, then that's going to be a problem. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, like I said, let me take you on as usual, with your far-right conservative view. It's not sitting well with me here this evening. The reason why I said that it's too late. First of all, we all know Liberian government issue or Liberian government system, the governmental system in Liberia is not continued. Simple. You don't let anybody fool you. A government is supposed to be a government that whenever the administration, current administration time over, the next government comes in, they change policy, but they do not change the structure that make up the government. And it's not like that in Liberia. Now you're bringing in Professor Zawolo now on a CDC government. And then Professor going to come here and lay out some wonderful structure that will help our brothers and sisters.
Why are you so much?
May I please? He will come here and bring in some wonderful put in a structure that will be able to that the system will benefit. However, in 2 years, CDC going to get kicked out. Now what? And then the next person who's going to come in might want to bring his own ideas. So if that happens, what's the point of you bringing the good professor? You should have brought the professor in from day one so the professor can lay out the structure. By the time his time is over, you can bring Samson to who is have no idea of education, who have no go business, but he will come in because the structure is going to be so strong that nobody can break it. Mr. So this is what we, the liberal, are saying to you. We're very smart. We're not dumb. We're saying to you, bringing in a professor right now, it's a good idea, but it's a little bit too late because the CDC government and Dr. Weir, they only have 2 years to enjoy themselves.
Mike Down.
Yes, I think from what he's saying from his own perspective is that Professor Zawolo should have been in long since to ensure that some of the good things that he expected of him should be implemented long since. But however, one may say better late than never because I'm receiving some sound from your end. Wheresoever he start, probably if at all in the next appointment of officials he is not successful, another person going to come and continue from that particular area. but again, because government, Mr. Toll, remember, government is a process of continuity. So whoever that begins, uh, someone will come and continue such process, whether it is from the left or it is from the right. So we should just keep that at the back of our mind, that whosoever that starts this, is going to continue. Again, from what you say, it is a bit late. Yes, one may say probably the right time and the right person at the right time was not in. Again, whenever the right one goes somewhere, some of those efforts that have been wasted, quote unquote, can be doubled up, and then you can even forget that there were some wrongdoings in the past.
So look, Mike Down, let me just tell you, you try to give a sort of oatmeal to lay out something for this guy. This guy, he doesn't understand it. The only language that sounds into the liberals clearly understands is precise word. He sounded so ridiculous here to say that it's late. This is part of the politics in Liberia. Everything they inside politics into it. Let me calm you there. Maybe you can't remember history well because you're an engineer. I understand that, but when you're doing your construction, I know you know the kind of components you're used to. Give me a break. Are you saying if George Weah and the CDC-led government, which of course 100% I think from what we see, if they don't change course, they will be out, which is clear. But let me remind you, when Barack Obama took over, who he asked to stay on to Gate as the Minister of Defense or Defense Chief. So are you telling me the guy you support, Joseph Boyka, let's assume Professor Zawolo has been confirmed by the Liberian Senate. It doesn't matter 2 years, 3 years, it doesn't matter how long they get to go. But if he goes in there and establish a system, the Morovia Consolidated School System, putting the program, putting the structure, I have no doubt he was going to be flying with the San Francisco and other places here with his college that he's teaching here to give the support. Then when Joseph Boyka or Alexander Kume comes now, then you want to do a susu business. Oh, this guy, he's not part of a Liberty Party. He's not
Mr. Stowe.
Hold on 1 second. You were talking, I didn't talk. He's not Unity Party. Then you're going to take in there and go bring another player and throw him there to derail, to spoil the entire system. This is how the country is being running. Which one of the political parties now is talking about the educational program, the infrastructural program, the health program? When you ask Komen people, we say collaborating. When you ask Joseph Boyka people, we experience. What the heck is going on? And you want to tell me that because they are 2 years old, we do not need somebody to fix the system? Go ahead.
Mr. So, you're missing a point. And I'm not saying he shouldn't be there. I'm just saying it's too late. Now, the point that I'm making here is this. Do you see within Dr. Bakai or Honorable Cummings' circle, do you see any one of them have any kinds of tolerance at all? These are people. Look at George Noble. Look at Costa. Do you see these people coming in and say we're going to keep a residue of CDC in our government? No, I don't see them. I see these people coming in and trying to clean the entire ministry. If they're not careful, they're not going to let them. They will bring their own people in. That's what these people are going to do. So I'm just saying to you, I'm being very honest. In as much as I support Dr. Bakai, but these are things that people will do, and they have seen it. Because when look at when Dr. Weah and his people came in, how many people today that you can count on one hand that are still in top position, policy making, policy implementation position from Unity Party? None. You won't see it. So what makes you think now that when Unity Party or Honorable Kumi, any of these people come to power, that they will do differently?
So let me ask you, are you saying the continuity? I was one of those disfavor the stay on by the CDC government because they were unprepared. They never had a long-term goal. They probably didn't have a basic idea how government runs, because it was quite eminent that they want to be the incoming administration. So in that case, There are strategic places you should have positioned people to allow people to lane Eugene Nangbe then to stay on, get this other one to stay on. When you are coming in government, your Minister of Finance, your information, your Minister of Foreign Affairs, maybe the Army Chief of Staff, those are strategic positions. Those people should be ready on day one. So let's assume for discussion purposes that was done wrongly. And are you saying if the collaboration, the Boykai, the Kumi, the Benana Ure, the Nyombi Kanga Lawrence, and all of those folks, if they come and you have competent people, so is it fair to judge by guilt that everybody in CDC are basket of deplorable? So if his Professor Zawolo takes that job and begin to structure, and we begin to see the light of the educational system from my Moravia, within the Moravia Consolidated School System is lifted, then that's a good thing. Probably that could be expanded across the country. So they should kick everybody out and bring your own group because of partisan, correct?
Mr. So, I was in Liberia during the inaugural program. I can attest to that. And I saw and witnessed a lot of stuff. People were and some of my family members that was working in a Unity Party government were all asked to turn in their office keys because they wanted CDC people in there. What make it the only person, the only exception that I have to this statement is Honorable Cummings, because I believe if Honorable Cummings come in, he will keep those who are producing. Those who have the ability to produce. But when Dr. Baka comes in, because of the circle of people around Dr. Baka, they will not, and they will refuse to keep anybody. They will bring in people because they think they have the ability to lead, and they will bring in people to replace those people in these positions. And
okay, let's make the conversation interesting. It's education here. We're not batching people here. Let me go to this number here. Caller, I call him, I believe, from New Jersey suburb. Caller, are you there? Please lower your monitor.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good evening and welcome, brother.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, okay. Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Yeah.
Okay, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm James Momo. I'm calling from the state of New Jersey.
Okay, Mr. Momo, thank you so much. But I think the monitor, somebody monitor is on. Just lower your monitor, please. I think we're getting the feedback. Okay, Mr. Momo, thank you so much. But the monitor, somebody monitor is on. Okay, go ahead.
I'm following your discussions here, and I want to. I just want to, make my input in this.
Yeah, go on. Sure.
Mr. Toll made a very clear point. Mm-hmm. We have a country where we do not have institutions that are built. Yeah, go on. Sure. Okay? We do not have institutions in Liberia. And you try to make a comparison with the United States. The United States do have institutions. So regardless of who becomes who, it's still going to function. Okay? Mm-hmm. It's not the case in Liberia. You have a country where the educational system is zero. So regardless of who is appointed at MCS as superintendent, he's going to start from scratch. What he's going to do is try to put, and another thing here is that what the governor will even be able to support his agenda.
Yeah, that's a key thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So this is a country we have when everything is falling apart, and regardless of who you are, you can be the best. You can be the best technocrat. You go in Liberia to be able to exhibit your professionalism. You will not be able to do it. Again, the reason is because we do not have existing institutions. That's what the problem is.
So, Momo, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, okay. Are you listening to yourself there? Because I'm kind of getting feedback, so you're kind of putting me off track here a little bit.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So, how can this be fixed? And that's the argument here is, because this institution, this structure, there's no structure. And this is where the disappointment even comes in when these people that are also seeking for state offices will begin to question them. We need to get a sense of how their government will look like. Who are people? Let us have an idea. These institutions, these reforms that they are calling for, they are advocating for, who's going to be the direct representations of? Or are we going to come back to have this sort of absolute power wanted to be embedded within the president? But the liberals sound a little bit disingenuous. You say when Comey comes in, I'm surprised to hearing that. He threw his man Joseph Boyka on the bus here this evening. That Kuhlman will keep professional people, but Boyka, that will not happen. So where are we heading as a nation?
Well, the thing about Liberia is a very good point you're stressing over here. But the problem with Liberia is we have always make one of the greatest mistakes when it comes to Liberia as a country. Okay? It comes to leadership. Okay? We are persistently, it has been a visual cycle in our country that we are electing people who are very incompetent, who are not prepared for leadership, and we're getting state power. Okay? We see it today what is happening in Liberia. Okay, so Liberia has become like an idle family where everybody goes there and take a piece of it, and you don't care what happens. Why the majority are suffering? This is the kind of country we have.
Okay.
Okay, and so when we talk about leadership now, I think we are coming to a point where we must insist that the right people are elected. And I'm sure when he talked about Mr. Cummings. Mr. Cummings is a professional. He has worked in the corporate world, and he would be looking for some of the brightest minds of Liberians to serve in government. And when the person is professional, he feels no threat. Okay, so I don't see why, if Mr. Cummings is to be president of Liberia, I don't see the reason why he should disengage himself with other past officials of the government that are competent to work. It's not just Mr. Cummings, it's Mr. Barkai. Okay, the problem of Liberia, whether Mr. Zawolo becomes MC as a superintendent, or who becomes MC as a superintendent, we do not have system.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. So we're in there for a long haul. Okay, the Liberal.
Point is very clear. It's very clear. It's very clear. And I can give you another example. Look what happened with Honorable Cummings getting I say Toba.
Tuba, yeah.
Because even though I say Toba, knowing full well that he's a sedition. And they don't tell me, say, and there's no form of sedition. A sedition is a sedition. Go up and come down. In their stomach, they're sedition. They can't move. These people, they will go up and come, they're sedition. However, Cummings recognized, and Cummings knows that he's a sedition. But Cummings didn't say, well, you got to do X, Y. He knew that this man able to perform. Bring him on board. I need your service. Come and service, bring your services to me and service the thing that we're doing. It's not with Dr. Baka. Dr. Baka, I have no problem with him. But my thing is people who are around Dr. Baka pushing themselves to be the face of the Baka movement. Okay. Those are the people that I believe do not have within them the ability to allow people to function, because you have the ability to function. They will come in based on who you know and what you and not what you know. This is what I believe in, and this is what I'm saying.
So, Mike Down.
Yeah.
Mike, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Mr. So.
I'm getting a little bit confused here. Here is the Liberal who from time to time has argued the point of Joseph Boyka to be the next president. Boyka should go on a Cummings. I don't know how you're going to do that, which way they're going to go as a VP. But he's at the same time telling us he has legitimate concerns about the surroundings, folks that are within a close or ear eaters of Joseph Boyka. Then are we not heading to the same CDC scenario where you have Koji, Tuwe, McGee, if Boyka is to be the president? Because what I'm literally hearing from him is that Boyka may not stand up to these people in making some tough decisions. So then we are going back to phase 2 of CDC.
Yeah. Again, if we are to say that we're looking for neutral people, I don't just see it in Liberian politics, because many of those that are even currently behind Mr. Cummings, some of them participated in the previous administration. Some of them were part of the Unity Party, former ruling Unity Party. So again, we are just all. even the CDC, that is a ruling party right now, most of the officials there too, many of them were part of the former ruling party. For example, you talk about Bill Tuawe. Mr. Tuawe was a strong member of the Unity Party, as we all know. He won the Unity Party ticket, District 3, Montserrat County year. And for example, Len Eugene Nangbe, he left the Unity Party and then he left the CDC, went to Unity Party. And so they are just all recycled politicians. Again, Mr. Buaka remains formidable based on what we've been seeing independently from his visit in some of the constituencies, in some of the counties, for example. So he remains very much formidable, actually, not with any prejudice, not with any some strange attach, but independently speaking, journalistically speaking, when you talk about the Liberian political landscape right now, from George Weah, you talk about Buaka and Cummins. These are the winning names when it comes to politics. Before you talk about maybe Benona or PLP. Yeah.
All right.
But for now,
I'm not a fan of fanatic like Samson Tour. I'm a Liberty Party man, but I'm a Liberty Party USA, not Liberia, and I'm not that type there. But what I actually have interest in hearing from our politicians to begin to address, especially these people that are seeking state offices. We're not hearing anything about their educational program. You're not hearing anybody that's speaking for that you can hold up. You have them speaking multiple people speaking multiple languages. Let us digress here a little bit.
Yeah.
Something in the US, and sometimes will be compelled to make that sort of comparison, because we also relate the conversations of the sort of transparency here. Corruption is in the country, don't get me wrong, but people are held accountable if you are caught. So we have to also kind of cross-carpet that one day. This is the proposed budget, even though it's on scrutiny. We don't know how it's going to look like. When last you saw the economic advisor to Joseph Boyka, when last you saw the economic advisor to Alexander Cummins to begin to gradually tear and look and dissect that budget, the advantage, the disadvantage, what it's going to bring to Liberia, what sort of destruction that inside, what is the good side, who is the person that is having that conversation now? ZERO, zero. Everybody acting, hold on. Everybody acting like a little chihuahua all over the place here. We're talking about it. But where are their advisors? Foreign policy, domestic, economic advisor. That will give us a sense when Boyka becomes president or Cummins becomes president, we will potentially know who's going to be going to the Ministry of Finance, or even within the close range of the president, to make these sort of informed decisions. Because of lack of these things here, it trickles down to other supplementary arm of government, and government becomes polluted.
Mr. So, I hate to bust your bubble as usual.
Let's take a break. Let's take a break and then
no. You see, this is what you do. This is exactly what you do on this platform. When the liberal is on the roll and winning the argument, you want to take a break.
Let's take a break and we'll be right back. The Liberal Progressive.
Okay, go ahead. What's up?
First thing, let me say good evening to the Prof, Mr. Tool, Samson Tool, and Amos George. I will start with the point the professor raised. I think the professor, with all due respect, I think he's still in a dream world. The professor is in a dream world. Let me bring you up to speed. From the 80s to the late 90s or the early 90s, there were PC people selling rice in the redemption market. Maybe you don't know where the redemption market is. It's on Somalia Drive. My late grandmother used to sell rice by cup and by bag. You don't have to have $1 million for them to give you a bag of rice to sell. They will give you the rice every Saturday. You give them the money, and the profit goes to you, Prof. And another thing you said earlier on was the issue of. I'll come back to that, but let me go to something too, Mr. Tool. You are a veteran. You've been around for a long time, but I think the line you try to push, looking at the political dynamics of our country today, the line you were pushing with Omen Bwaka, I'll give you one parable. Let's look at it from a.
Let's do this here, Stace.
Do the research. It was not active up to 1982. It was not active.
Okay, let's see here. That's our own man, Professor Zawolo here, always here on the Liberal Public. The Liberal.
Yes. The point I was going to make until you decided, perhaps you think I'm too old, that I might not be able to remember my line as we come back after the break. I still remember exactly what I want to say, and I do know what I want to say. Look, Mr. So, let's be serious for a minute. The country of Liberia, we have some serious issues. And the fact that we refuse, even those that consider themselves educated, those that consider themselves progressive, those that consider themselves whatever it is they want to think they are, they refuse to build institutions. But here's what's going to happen. The politicians themselves, they're in for a big surprise, because the young Liberians are not coming on board with some of the things that we've been saying. Look around Liberia right now. Look at the voting populations. These are people that are of what, 25, 30, 35 years old. Many of them don't have jobs. Many of them ended up in the crime ring. Not because of the war, or not because the war have affected them so much. Some of them was more after the war. But Mr. So, the fact that we do not have institutions, we build individual. And so when you come into this particular circle of individualism, and you want to show that you can do a work, they will push you down, because the institution is not there. And as you know, individualism does not allow you to see and bring yourself to that level. On the institution or programs, everyone, those who can assure themselves that they have the ability to move and work and produce, they are showcased in the institution. But at a country that based on individualism, you cannot have this person to come and do something and say this person is standing out. The complex things about this, Mr. So, I believe, and it's hurting us, because that does not sit well with our culture. Our culture does not believe in individualism. Look at the way we dance. When we get among a group to dance, we dance in a circle. And then at a specific time, 2, 3 people will get in that circle to show themselves. After that, they get back into the circle and we go around. That is an institution. That is the culture. For us as Liberians to build an institution, it won't take long, because that's already ingrained in us. But the leadership themselves and those who are fighting to be the leaders refuse to recognize this institution that is with institution building ability that is within us. Instead, they push the individual line. And let me put it back to Professor Zagro. Professor Zagro is going to come in and try to do the best he can. However, if people within the CDC hierarchy and they find out this man, a policy or thing that he programmed, he's putting in place, they're going to benefit, and people are going to start recognizing him, and the international community are going to start recognizing it, think that they will step on it. Bet me, I say so, Samson told.
Okay, all right. Let's go to our man Mike Dunn. Is in Liberia. It's pretty getting late there. Let's get his final take before we can carry on. Mike Dunn. Mike, are you there? Unmute your mic. Check your microphone.
All right, I'm here. Are you getting me now?
Yeah, go ahead. So let's get a sense of reaction from the appointment of Professor Zawolo within the Monrovia Consolidated School System. What his name? The outgoing superintendent, Jacob. What his name said? Jacob. Not outgoing. He will be outgoing.
Benjamin. His name is Benjamin Adolfo Jacobs.
Benjamin. Yeah. Okay. But what are you hearing? People blowing whistle? How is the appointment been received? Or what is the conversation? In a sense?
Yeah. I think there are many people who have been appreciating the new appointment because remember Mr. Jacobs has stayed at that institution for a little over 5 years plus now, and then there have been some hulubalus starting with his own credential, because the I that created the MCSS in the 60s talk about the superintendent should be a master degree holder, but then there was a series of demonstration against Mr. Jacobs that he did not hold. He's not a holder of a master's degree. He also rejected that, saying that he's a holder of a master's degree. He graduated from a university, got a master's in the U.S. Remember, Jacobs is also a product of William V. Stallman High School, but according to some history, he did not graduate there. He did not graduate. Actually, he was expelled in the 11th grade in 1987, and so so there have been many hulubalus surrounding
1987.
Yes, around 1987, he was in Tottenham High, and then he said he graduated in that same year, but a record shows that actually he was in 11th grade, and then 1989 it was the time he actually graduated from G.W. Gibson. Yes, so there have been a series of hulubalus about him. Instructors have been going on strikes. Some of, especially instructors from Tottenham High, many of them have been opposing his leadership actually. And since the insertion of his leadership from the Ministry of Education as the assistant minister under the Ellen government, coming to the MCSS, it has been marked by a series of controversies to be made. And again, I think many of the instructors are actually happy, should I say, with his exit from the MCSS, because they have been calling for reform, a total reform at the MCSS. A budget has been allocated to the MCSS. On one occasion, MCSS budget rose to almost $10 million, and there were no new improvements seen. The vocational station, for example, at Tottenham High, there were no new activities seen there, even though there were money allocated. In time past, I remember in the early 2000s when we were at the verge of leaving, Isa E and others, they equipped that the computer lab at Tottenham High, the vocational institute, the carpentry, and all other vocational areas, they were well equipped. But in time past, of late, we have been hearing that those things have gone down, and there have been not adequate budgetary allocation. Again, even recently, the Alumni Association, because I'm also part of the Alumni Association, I'm not saying this to limit to Tottenham High. MCSS has 23 schools. They have they never come out actually to say they have problem, but they have been not too happy with the way things have been going at the NCSS instructors, because some of them are instructors of the NCSS school system. They have been talking about some reform activities at the MCSS actually.
Okay. All right, Mike. I know it's pretty late in Liberia. We want to thank you so much for chipping in here. We will keep having this conversation here. Thank you so much, and have a pleasant evening.
Thank you. We're hoping that tomorrow is William V.S. Stotman's birthday.
Yeah.
So tomorrow we have double holidays, and you know when it's double holidays, sometimes it's tedious because we didn't. Sometimes you don't plan for this, and
I remember those days. I can remember we took on BWR 1986 and hosted the flag. I don't know what was the Liberal Progressive at that time. BWR came there, we destroyed them. When Tottenham hit Central Morovia, they were wondering as if the Marine came from the United States to observe William V.S. Tottenham parade. I got one of my pictures, I put it over when I posted it, they said, no, they mad and I ain't here. They want it horrible. So I can't show that picture. Okay. So, Mike, thank you so much. And
yes,
happy birthday.
Thank you, Mike, and good night to you as well.
Thank you. Mr. Bwaka is in Buchanan. He's going to be turning 78 years old. He's in Buchanan right now as we speak. Buchanan is on fire tonight with Bwaka activities.
So what's about a boat? Is he supposed to donate a boat to the entire county?
Well, I think I have some detail, but yes, I'm told that he's going to give some educational materials to citizens of that part of the country. And again, one thing before I just take leave, the proximity with Mr. Bwaka, with the former CPP political leader Nyombli, and many people have been saying that this could be a good pairing. This could be a good pairing for the ticket. Again, we don't know how it's going to happen. But they have been some close proximity, and then people are projecting or predicting some pairing as such.
All right, let's be carrying fishing boat there. Thank you so much, Mike. Dan.
Thank you.
All right. So the Libra.
Yes.
Let's digress here a little bit, but it's all about Professor here. We're going to be. Why you guys in Grand Bassa try to build a political base? What, a fishing boat, or what kind of boat is that for them to do? See, what kind of boat is it? How many times people get boat to Grand Bassa?
I don't know much about it. I just read about it on social media. That's about it.
Are these this sort of kind of gift or some?
Most likely, if it is going to be given to them, of course it's a gift. It's not going to be on loan. Grandma's not going to get money.
Why you get money from the boat now? You on loan?
That one that your business. The CPP, they got men in men. CPP, if you want money, come to CPP. If you want good leadership, come to CPP. If you want people who have the ability to lead the country of Liberia, come to CPP.
Okay, let's come back to this conversation here. If you were Professor Zawolo at this point in time, consequential decision making, and this guy from history, tons of video, all his, you heard a word like I owe Liberia. Those are specific words that he used, meaning he's obliged to give back to the country based on what he learned, things that he knows, to help people, to elevate other people. If you were Professor Zawolo in this sort of case, what would be running through your mind? What would you be telling the president? Why should be the precondition? Yes, you want to help, but nobody wants to walk into a volatile and also a situation where you go, you can be, you will not function, and at the end of the day, it spills over you, and people will say, "Oh, doesn't even though it's all the train already derailed." But hey, people can fix. What should be his concern? What sort of engagement you think that you should be having right now with GOL?
I think first thing, and of course, I'm just speculating here. But I think the first thing the professor most likely is trying to iron out right now is the issue with the family. To make sure the family are secure, to make sure that the family on board. Because if you take any position and you have a family here in the diaspora and you take position back home and family are now on board with you, you have issues. So I think the professor, knowing who he is, he's a family man. And so I believe in order for him to fully commit himself to those kinds of positions, those are things I believe most likely have been squared up with the family. The next thing is, if the government is taking you to the position, all right, excuse me. Oh, let me take some water here. Oh my goodness. If the government is asking you to join them in Liberia, they will, I hope that they already have these things all set up. That when you come in, it's not necessarily the salary. The professor, Liberia is his home. He can even live in Kakata and still go to work in Monrovia. No big deal. But he must have the understanding.
How are you going to go to work from Kakata to Monrovia?
He said the man he want to walk, he can walk. Who cares? The man want to walk, he can walk. But I would want you to work for other. No, but on a very serious note, Mr. So, one of the things that he most likely will look at, what are the support structure that he's going to be walking in? Is the people that are calling him now to join them, are they willing to work with him? And the most important thing, is he going to have an access to the president or to the leadership of the Minister of Education and not have people be jealous of him because he's trying to produce something? I'll give you an example, and I will use myself here from an engineering perspective. Now, in Liberia, there's no building code. If they do have it, I don't know about it. In Liberia, there's no zoning. Anybody can build anywhere. So, for example, if I was to be asked to be in the Ministry of Public Works, not as minister, I don't want no ministerial position, none, but as an advisor, technical advisor, those things that I would do. Now, some of the policies that I want to see are those little stuff. They might be little, but those are the underpin of all of the policies that are being made by Public Works. So those are the kinds of stuff I think the professor will look at. He himself being a teacher, what are the tools that he will be willing to give a teacher in Liberia to be successful in his classroom? What are some of the tools that the teachers in Monrovia are lacking, for which there's an issue? So if he's going to do, I bet you he has done all his research. So most likely he has identified some of these things. So when he gets on the ground, that's when the support staff is going to be very, very, very much important. Those who's going to be supporting him will be the one that will provide that kinds of information without any ounce of jealousy. That's what I'm talking about, Mr. So.
And I think the Liberal, you're quite on point. It shouldn't be like a summertime. Okay, well, they appointed a new superintendent. The superintendent is confirmed. And the first week, phone calls rolling to the president, but where the real work about to start, then you have to go through a bureaucratic chain, put this other phone, and this other person hold this other phone, and they look on the side, who's that? Wait, now, how are you going to be calling for? Yes, because the boss stops with the president. He can walk through the doors of the Minister of Education anytime, any hour, because maybe the minister understands. But the go-ahead ultimately comes from the AFLO or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So there must be an open corridor that will also empower him. And this is that's something to look at, because these political parties, not just on the CDC, they have they are called high call, daha, the inner sort of covenant, like I signed the treaty. And so those are the people that are within a close proximity to the higher decision maker. So there are two things involved. You either joined that congregation to also be part of that bell will, or if you are not and you are principle-minded person based on your background, then that's just a potential problem. But talking about teachers I start here, let's look at some of the work of the professor. He has a very long history of doing what he's doing. I'm happy that they are calling him, but are they willing? The key question here, are they willing to support him to the belly core to make sure not just only it might start from the Moravia Consolidated School System, but his advancement or maybe the programs that he's going to introduce could possibly spread across the country, and that will lift the educational programs of our country. I'm Alfonso Zienso. Let's take a look at some of the work of the professor here and see.
Indices. So here are some basic properties. I'm sure you already know. You've been introduced to these properties in your classroom. They are very important properties. Maybe you just need to copy them, summarize them, and be able to recall and retain this information. Along base B, B is equal to 1, I mean, equal to B to the first power is B. B to the 0 power is 1, so this is property goes now. This has to do with multiplying two logs. So, or you have a sum of logs of the same base, you put them together as a product. So you can work this way there, or you can work this way to the other end. And another very important property is this one, which we really use to solve a lot of problems, especially involving arithmetic and equations involving indices. So it says log base B of n to the power b. It's the same as saying the power of p log base B of n. So, okay, also, here's a property that we use. We say that b to the x is equal to b to the y. The only way this is possible is for x and y, because b and b are already equal. So that's the only way this is going to be possible. Okay? Very important to remember. Sounds simple, but now, the first problem we have here is giving the expression below, express y in terms of x. So that means you must basically solve for y in terms of x here. So let's see how we can
Well, the liberal, that his life, that his lifestyle right there.
Yes.
That's his lifestyle right there. Yeah, and I agree with our own man. You know, here he's a high, he's a sedition, but he's stick to his principle.
Right.
Believe me, I think this one here, it went smoothly, but if he was to be named or he was to tap to go to the National Port Authority, oh my goodness, hell was broken loose. But that's a technical area there. But that technical area also has a component where he will be bringing in ideas, and those ideas will eventually to bear out fruit if the resources are provided. And part of that resources, it requires a budget and money. It's not just going to fall from out of the sky. This guy is here. He runs, he's a general professor. He runs his own school. I won't be surprised when he started making contact he left from here and went to train teachers to prepare the young generation for wire. So there are people who are making ultimate sacrifices for the survival of that country. But when you, the laborer, to come back to come tell me that, oh, CDC maybe get 1, 2 more years, and so whoever comes, they're going to kick it out, then you made me sick in the stomach, because then you are not still helping the process, because you know very well you have somebody that is equipped who is building a system. But because of this sort of polarized politics that we have in the country, that is only based on, I started this liberation cause and I must be the direct beneficiary. I wonder these people, these Liberian politicians, if any of them were like the late Nelson Mandela, believe me, the 20-some more years they spent in jail, it would be equivalent to their presidency, because they will want that back. But this guy came from one of the worst situation on earth here. He went there for only 1 year, and he was able to have passion from the clock, and he put the people together. I'm not sure our people can do that. So we hope to, whatever the case situation will be, he's our own contributor here. We hope to talk to him. I've not had the time to have that sort of conversation because these are things that require people, to process it. But guess what? Interestingly, I was searching because I'm pocket, I'm nosy. I want to know because there are consequences. Now money things. To a job in is crazy, right? So what they have done, the people, professionals, technocrat, they booping their pay up. Even though you never told us your own pay gone up, you can't hear your salary dress is fine. But I check everything you guys, you're making good, you're making good money now. So how can this guy, yeah, he has his family. Come on. America here, a lot of people work even when you're leaving your job. Your retirement, he's not going to be going, I guess. I'm not saying that's what he told me, but when they point you got to go. Maybe go have a consultation, go have a conversation. He's not going to just resettle his family immediately. So there are a lot of things to be done, and
right.
For you to succeed, you got to give him the support. So toward them, all the other people, hey, he's going to be running, if confirmed by the Senate, he's going to be running institutions, high school, over 23, maybe with the approximations of 1,000 millions of students, and not to mention countless teachers that are going to be bumping through his offices. If they are not taking pay, how can you go salary not covering, they're not having benefit? How can you go be a head of a group of people where there's a complete chaos, the people hungry, their problem not being addressed? They're not going to listen to you. I know MCSS, I was part of the system. I mean, with the school system. Wilmer Freeman was the president of the Monrovia Consolidated School System and taught me how I was right there. When those people ready for their own people, even principal, not to even mention superintendent, it's crazy. But those days, people are not wearing, it was easier to identify students. Taught me I was the only school that was wearing maroon and white. So later when I went, I saw everybody in maroon and white. Like, what's going on here? And then later somehow I got to know that the system, all of the system, they are unified, which is a good thing. But bottom line, the liberal progressive, GOL has to give him all of the resources, support. And one of the key things you mentioned, he should be able to have access to the president of the Republic of Liberia anytime, any hour, without any bureaucratic chain of command. Because why? The thing that killing the fabric of that nation, education, agriculture, health. Because this is where bulk of the poverty comes in and the society is inflated and we are all going nuts like this. So if the school system in Monrovia, the capital, if it is to be uplifted, if this young man is confirmed, he needs to get the support of the GOL and the resources be given. Because why? If it comes from the president, believe me, what he needs here, benevolence detector will have it approved right away. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It seemed to me that my liberal view having some sort of an effect on you now.
Yeah, you're coming when it ups to the talking point, then I deploy that, and that's what I use that word.
But let me say this. Let me say this to you on a very serious note, Mr. So. I think this appointment, if you look at it critically, and I hope the government of Liberia and the people that ICE came to come and do this are not just doing it because they want to fill the position, are not just doing it because they want to certify sedition in the diaspora, specifically America, to say, look, we brought one of your guys here now. Where you're complaining again, but I hope this is not it. I hope that they're doing this thing here on a very serious note. Yes, one of the things here. If they take this thing serious, they have killed two birds with one stone, in my opinion. For example, you just show a clip here earlier before coming back, which is the Lord Rickman rules, okay? And that's the rule of Lord Rickman, how you do the log and blah, blah, blah. Okay, but I'm not going to go into that. But here's what I'm going to on this. The professor, you yourself, you also show another clip where he went to Liberia to do a workshop. So what I'm saying here is this: not only is he going to be administrator of the system, a Monrovia school system, but he can also identify teachers who are willing to work but are deficient in certain area. And because of that ability to identify that from the professor, he would then take these teachers under his arm to say, let's go and learn these things, because he knows them. So then he will bring the teacher. Mr. So, will you please put my picture up? Take the CDC professor picture up. Well, what kind of business is that? The CDC professor is now I'm talking, and you put CDC professor picture up. What kind of business?
Oh, this
yeah,
guy.
I jealous of the CDC professor. Why you my law? I jealous, of course. I'm talking the liberal talking. Then he put CDC professor picture up. No, but on a very serious note, put my picture up. Why you put a Professor Zawolo picture up? You know we're all, you know, yeah, right. Yeah, we go. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. So no, so the professor, he will then recognize. I mean, like I said, he already know. So he will help those teachers that are deficient in certain areas. For example, if they're deficiency in math from the teachers, he can bring them on board. Instead of saying, oh, you don't know anything, you go your way. No, he will impact on them, teach them how to do certain things based on his own teaching credential and teaching experience here in the United States. So this government, hey, I wish I were part of it. If they use these kinds of position or bringing in Professor Zawolo to pivot, they can use, if they want to use politics in there, they will be in the winning column. You use this professor with his knowledge, give him the support, let him turn the school system in Monrovia under Jefferson Kochi, who was the mayor. Let him turn that school system around in less than 2 years. That's a winning formula for CDC, to be honest with you. But guess what? I hate to bust your bubble. Samuel Twe and Honorable Samuel Twe or Honorable McGill will not allow it. Look, Mr. So, look, seriously, looking, I'm not saying this thing because they don't know me, I don't know them. But look in the government. What agency can you point out? What ministry can you point out? What director can you point out to say this person or this agency or this ministry having an important impact on the Liberian government or in the Liberian government system or on the Liberian people? None. Everyone, even in the Ministry of Public Works, when they're ready to go show Minister McGill is leading, what does he know about electricity? When was the last time he went to electrical school to become an electrical engineer? What does he know about putting light poles in the street? What does he know about measurement? What does he know about the pole, the base of the pole that the light pole is supposed to be staying? What is the weight on that? What is the calculations? What is the overturning movement of all these things? Minister McGill have no clue. Then when they ready to build this building, the market building, he lead that. What does he know about the weight of the building? What does he know about the columns? What does he know about any of this connection that are framing the building? He has no clue. What is the weight, the length, the weight of the floor? He has no clue. What is a drainage system? How do you come up with a drainage system on the floor? He has no clue. But yet still, he takes the leads on that. When you do those kinds of insincere behavior, you are now putting, instead of having a minister to showcase the young ministers that are working on these things, to showcase herself. You then minister, because you minister McGill, you in line, you're in charge of this thing, you've not suppressed these people. They are no longer willing to give you their best. This is what leadership comes about. It is not about you. It is about people who serve you. And if you understand that, you will do well, Mr. Saul.
I think I got that point. Usually we don't agree, and for us to kind of a little bit twist the wheel around here. And that's one thing that I have realized, and we have said this here. The public relation aspect of this government is terrible, is horrible. I'm saying they need to learn some sort of model from the late Samuel Doe government here. They started that on that sort of same pace, and then later on they were able to catch up. I have realized that the president is being he's been overused. Let me put it that way. Overused in the sense that just what you said, You must also look at the other functionaries of governments, autonomous agencies, and a task be dedicated. When the president shows up, it must be the attention of the, but they have done that so much to the extent it doesn't, talking about role, who should do that? The Minister of Public Works should take the lead. When I remember when you're talking about president going out, the late Edward Komosako, the Minister of Internal Affairs at the time, on Samuel Doe, he's all out there because he is the direct representation of the president. He goes out there, he goes with the president and comes back and report to the president. There are some other missteps, and I spoke to a few people there, but they don't listen. Even the very smart Toby and said they don't listen. Solo Kebe is a classmate, is a schoolmate from Tottenham. They don't listen. They are making a lot of mistakes when it comes to the public relations. Let us just pick it, because these are some of the things that where government is falling and they don't understand. Kwame Opa is doing an extraordinary job in the country. If I was Nathaniel McGee, there should be no trip made by the president without Kwame Opa Weeks. Why? The Liberia New Agency, the act that establishes the Liberia New Agency, it is the state-run media outlet. They are the ones that have the authority to interpret the message of the government of the Republic of Liberia. They are like Al Jazeera, they are like Associated Press, they are like Washington Post, they are like New York Times, they are like Guardian. So sometimes I wonder, when you saw those days, Patrick Coleman, Presidential Press Secretary, those days, ELBC, you see the Liberia New Agency, the ELBC, they should be the two principal conduits of the media outlet. Because our leaders, they're not listening and they're not willing to learn. Charles Taylor made that mistake. Charles Taylor turned the state-run Kiss FM to almost like a state radio station. What happens? Taylor left today. Where is Kiss FM? Kiss FM died. It died like the case. It died. It gone down. What am I saying here? When the president is traveling, you use ELBC and the Liberian New Agency, and you can have the assistant press secretary or deputy press secretary to do the commentary. They should be taking down notes of the activities of the president of the Republic of Liberia, and then subsequently, when the president comes, the president informs the nation. That's how it has been. That's how it should be. But people, there are few people that they want to have power into their hands. And so what Kwame, he doing his stuff, getting out there, they're supposed to equip that. It's just equivalent to what we are saying, because few people wants to be in the eye of the media. So they keep those people there and they miss the mark. I can be press secretary and be doing commentary. Oh, hell no, that's not going to happen. Then don't give me the job. I should be taking notes when the president is sharing notes with his counterpart. When the president is in a conference, you sit right behind the president and take note. When the president meeting world leaders, you take note and compare that, because the president will not comprehend everything. That's the work of the presidential press secretary. If you were to call Patrick Coleman, who was a former press secretary to Samuel Doe, and other folks right here in Minnesota today, that's what he's going to be telling you. And you must just have under like EFBC or other people. You can carry other media out like why it happens here. What time do you have to be doing commentary of all of the happenings of the president? Do you remember everything that the president did? Some of the information, important pieces of information will be left out. Absolutely. Charles he made a mistake. He told Kiss FM to be the state-run. Yeah, he told Kiss FM to be the state-run media outlet. What happens today? It is still happening now. It is still happening now. I personally feel ELBC as a state-run news network, Liberia New Agency as a major component in the information sharing for the state is still left out of the space. Go ahead.
Look, you mentioned our brother Kwame Weeks here. I try to stay out of it because that's your area. That's the media area. These all of you are all trained journalists.
Why you talk every other thing as why would you want to stay out of it?
Because my big mouth sometimes has a limit, if you don't mind me saying so. But on a very serious note, Kwame Opa Weeks is someone who has the ability, and in engineering, when I was in structure, I was doing structure engineering. When you go out in the field, yeah, you do all of your measurement, but most of the time you take pictures. And up to this time, I can still do. I can take a pictures, and you can take a ruler, engineering ruler, and measure on my picture, and the measurement will be exact because I know how to do the camera. And that's exactly what Kwame does. Why will you go places and leave Kwame's behind? Kwame is toting the line of CDC. Kwame goes to all of these places, interior, and show the good work of CDC. You should have this young man, since he have the ability to promote CDC and promote the government and promote the work. It's not just promoting the work. He's showing what people are doing in real time. He's showing what the government is doing in real time. Why is this thing not being in the front? Quite recently on social media, again, we saw the Minister for Agriculture was somewhere, some other country, toting the Liberians line. And those things was not being broadcast. Those things was not being carried live by the state media. They have executive mansion website. They have executive mansion.
Carrasco was in there.
Yeah, they have executive mansion Facebook page. If you're going to do that, you must be able to connect those things, the feed from there, just like we do here. We just have Mike down here tonight from Liberia, and everybody all over the world can see it. They mean executive mansion don't have that kind of ability to be able to follow these people when the minister, when they go to these places, and be able to have that feed coming into the executive mansion Facebook page. Why these people continue to do that? Because once again, it's about individual. Now watch, when Dr. We are ready to travel, the executive mansion page open up. Because why? It's individual. And this is the point that I'm making. So once again, Mr. So, and this thing is very bad. I belong to the Liberian Engineer Association. I'm a member of that. I haven't paid my due yet. I will pay my due, but I'm a member of that. But they have a website. I mean, they have a chat room.
You're not even paying for Liberty Party. The form you sent me, you still owing it.
Mr. So the form that I sent you for Liberty Party, the form that I sent you for Liberty Party was done back in 2008 or something like that. I was just showing you that I am a true member, a genuine member of Liberty Party, registered member of Liberty Party, USA, that is. But let me make my point. So in the chat room of the Liberian Engineer Association, you know what they do in Liberia now? For example, the construction company, because when they apply for the contract, on the contract provision, you have to have engineers, you have to have certain expertise, expert listed. So they will come and hire one of the engineer, pay them set $120 according to $120. But when that contract finishes, when they go apply for another contract, they use your name without paying you. And this thing go on and on and on until you can cash it yourself.
All right.
Why would the Minister of Public Works say you have this person name here? Every time you bring this person name here, let's verify that this person is indeed on board with you. Because if thing goes wrong, you will go and ask the engineer, were you part of this? This is the kinds of stuff I'm talking about.
Okay, let's play the last clip here. Professor Zawolo is a long-time contributor of the Liberia Public Radio, and we have been having some conversation here. Let's watch this.
1979, and even prior to that, the task, the risk, the political commitment of full-time politicians. I'm not talking about these other things you guys are doing right here. They're not politicians. They are all there for their own cause. But is that progressive idea is still alive today in Liberia? Is that something we can count on? What can we remember of that? Is there a sort of betrayal? I know those guys, some of them are rolling and spinning in their graves, saying the cause that they undertook, and see how it's been compromised into this politics in Liberia.
First of all, let me publicly say that for those who don't know it, the Black Lives Matter was fundamental. As a student of the University of Liberia, I became a member of the student integration movement, which has a very strong ties to the United People's Party. Some of the members of the United People's Party. I would not be who I am today had it not been for people like people like Matthew, Lama Nelson, the rest of the guys in the progressive United People's Party. So my heart goes out to them. This is the artist of our great comrade, our foreign leader, people like Matthew. The progressive ideas are still alive, but the progressive ideas offer the most logical pathway for Liberia or our present dilemma.
Okay.
The progressive idea was fulcrum and.
Okay, the Liberal.
Yes.
Yeah, time is already getting out of here. That's our own mentor, Professor Mcss Zawolo, a long-time contributor to the Liberia Public Radio. He's still a contributor here, but in one word here, what would be counsel to the GOL or the President of the Republic of Liberia, maybe to your advice to the professor as he maybe we don't know. Probably he needs to go on the ground, probably to have those sort of conversation and know what next. What would be your closing statement?
Well, definitely the professor is going to go on the ground, and I will hope that he will take on the challenge because he has immense experience and able to contribute to this. And in fact, I will hope from my own selfish point of view, I will hope that he will go and join. So at least we will have somebody, or we know somebody in the government now too. You know what I'm saying? So at least we know somebody in the government as well. So I will hope you will join so we can have somebody in there. But on a different level, Mr. So, I hope that the professor has a clear understanding what he's getting into. And I know he does. But at the same time that his family in the diaspora are part of that. Now the professor worked with a school district, and I hope this, and I believe the school district most likely is on board with him going back to help. So all of those issues hopefully will be resolved. However, the government of the Republic of Liberia must understand that this young man is leaving a job, or for sure job. I don't know what circumstances he's leaving, whether it be on leave of absence or whether it be whatever circumstances he's leaving, that's not a concern. And that they should be able to understand that he really does not need a job. He's doing it, and they must appreciate that he's doing it to help further the interest of CDC and some of the pillars of CDC platform to educate young Liberians. And he must be viewed from that, they must be viewed from that perspective. And they will work with him, not to ostracize him if he start making headway. If there are questions that I ask from previous administration must be willing to cooperate with him. I don't think there's any ounce in this professor of jealousy. I don't think there's any ounce in this professor of confusion. I've not seen it. So if he's coming in and say, yes, I'm going to take on this challenge, the challenge which Jefferson Coaches spoke, Honorable Jefferson Coaches spoke about here the last time. So if you have somebody who is coming on to take on this challenge, you must also be willing to work with them, cooperate with them. And I think the idea of Samuel Twe and McGill, I keep calling their name all night because of their presence, the way they carry themselves within this government. Nobody else can shine. You don't hear any other minister name to say the minister went to the place, the minister did such thing. The only people you hear name in this place here is Minister McGill and Minister Tua. Minister Tua deputy, you don't even hear his name. You hear Bill Tuare's name, but in a negative faction. So what is this? The government is not being run by 3 or 4 people. Why aren't you giving these people the platform as well for them to showcase their talent? And these are all talented Liberians. And I hope that the professor will make sure that when he comes in from day one to say, I'm here to work and I will roll up my sleeve to work. But these are X, Y, and Z I'm not going to put up with. Let him be like Samson told for once. Tell Francis so, I'm coming to work for Lpr, but I'm not going to put up with X, Y, and Z. I'm a liberal, and my liberal view must be respected. And if Mr. So refuse to respect my liberal view, I leave Lpr. Where would I go? I don't know for sure, but I will go somewhere else because my talent is so great. As a Lpr personality, my talent is so great that if I leave, people are going to be fighting all over me, Mr. So yeah, let him be like that. Tell the people I'm coming, but here are some of the things that we need to work together. Don't go into the negotiation being condescending to their view of the other side, but respect their view. But you must be firm in making sure that whatever it is that you're saying, because the failure of the professor is going to hurt many of us. And I don't see this professor failing. I don't see the professor failing. If anybody thinks that they're going to bring the professor on board to use him because of political gain, they're mistaken. They are mistaken because the professor is there to do a genuine job to promote the welfare of our children, their educational welfare, which this president and many of Sedition platform has been saying over and over. Mr. So, it's been a wonderful, wonderful evening. One thing I want to say here, if I'm going to be taking a leave of you now, that I appreciate you accepting my liberal view and that you're coming around my liberal way now. And I hope when the central right get back here on this platform, that I'm also going to be able to charm him so I can win both of you on my side. And then we all carry the liberal mantle all over the world.
You ever heard this word Asafulai?
Mr. So.
Okay, the Liberal Progressive, we want to thank you so much. Indeed, whatever decisions, we got to keep it in prayer. I've said this before. I'm not a person who wants government to fail, because people who pray for that probably it's at their own will or whatever. Because when I know what it means when the government system is failed in the country, there is a big repercussion whether you for or against, because directly, indirectly, we all have some ties. We have direct ties with our country. You have friends, you have families, and the list goes on. So when the system is not working, when the system collapses, and when the system fails, there is a backlash economically, inflations, and different things happen. So we want to see good people in government, and this is why we always calling even people who are seeking for state power now, to avoid the repetitions of some of these things that we are talking about. We need to see people with high sense of maturity, good political tolerance around them, because if we see what is happening here now, if they get there as well, it will be worse than even the CDC, because these people, they will pose themselves as another Goliath in the house of the people, and that's not what we want. So our prayers and thought goes out to let's pray with the professor. I am a direct beneficiary of the Moravia Consolidated School System. So I want to see the system being revised. I want to see the system being supported, and not just only that system. Who knows, that work will be transferred to the entire educational system or programs in Liberia. So I hope the decision, like what you said, it's not a sort of a political ploy by this government, in as much he has not whine and cry. He's not in desperation. In fact, I was searching just now what was doing it within the DC belt. Those people that bomb their lay issue up. So what he ain't get nothing to lose. You know what I mean? When your pay go up, then they can't go. So I gotta look at what I have and what I'm gonna get. But on a serious note, if you want quality result, you have to make quality sacrifice. People have to be paid for their services in as much they want to give back. And he's one of those because he has given enough. He used a word. He said, Liberia doesn't owe me. I owe Liberia. And he has justified his position going into the country there, teaching, training teachers to prepare the young generation for WIA. How many of us, how many of you have done that? So if you don't see people potential, he's patient. He's patient. I don't know what I can wait that long. This guy has gone on VOA, major news outlet, giving the message of this government because he still believes and he still got hope. Something can be done. And so if these people want something to done, it's time to get fresh ideas and bring people on board. Not because they can say sour to you, but a good in a system to also have people who will bravery and conscious mind raise their finger. Say, yes, Mr. President, I support you. Yes, Mr. Minister, I believe what you are doing, but this is X, Y, Z. We need to go this way. If you have everybody to say yes in a group, that group is on a short lifespan. Why? Because these people that are there, they are there to just protect their base. The Liberal Progressive, I want to thank you so much for being here this evening as usual. So I don't know when your man gonna get vote to Grand Jury too, or no vote there. Eh?
Mr. So, I tell you, say your show over.
Yeah, I forgot. That was the last question. And then vote for Grand Jury.
For what have Grand Jury done for us lately? For which, in fact, they got river over there that we're gonna get them boat to. What giving them boat for the little creek there? What giving them boat for? What giving Grand Jury boat for? That is people that want to be Jacka call about them or get them boat. What giving them boat for?
That boat was there, probably call about what got in that boat and then leave the same sooner.
But there's no river there. Why are we giving them vote? Not only do they not have river, they don't have vote. We don't give them no boat.
Okay. All right, the Liberal. Thank you so much, and I have a pleasant Sunday. By God's willing, too, we're going to be back here same time. The new
night to you as well.
The new representative elect was supposed to be here, but the call for time. I'm like, okay, when you're ready, you come. We're going to have a conversation. But I thank you so much, and have a pleasant evening.
Thank you. Good night.
Yeah. Okay, so that's in there. That's the Liberal Progressive of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Folks, our viewers and many listeners across our own band are there from La Côte d'Ivoire, our own national correspondent. Ben, we want to thank you so much for coming on. And I saw our own friend Emily being away for a little while, probably was vacationing. I put a sanction on Facebook. Emily, welcome back. Edwin and all of you beautiful people, our own men, Fanso, long-term advocates, human rights advocates, believe in the rule of law. Thank you so much. Hopefully we'll see you here soon. Ibrahim, and all of you people, Jim City, right here. We want to thank you so much. Let's keep praying for our country. We want the best out of our country. We also need to pray for the government. We also need to pray for the oppositions, so that even if they want state power, they will be able to make informed decisions. They need to start acting like children as well. They start acting like toddlers, fighting. They don't even get there. They're fighting among themselves. We don't know what is going on. We need to have people who will be speaking so that the nation, so that the world, so that everyone will listen, that indeed there's a light at the end of the tunnel. But when we keep having this sort of chaotic situation, then there's no name. Professor, we want to wish you well, and we hope that God will lead you in the process of your decision making. as we hope, seriously hope the country needs you. And you said that in your own word, you, the country, don't owe you, but you owe the country. That's Professor Asese Zawolo, is the new MCSS superintendent, a nominee or designated by the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency George Manent Weah. We want to thank you so much for staying tuned with us here. Let's bring you some playback of the professor and the LPR analyst.
Rooted in two foundational concepts. One man, one vote, which has been alluded to by my colleague here today. He was also concerned about the equitable distribution of the wealth of our land. And I think there's hardly any Liberian out there who would deny, who would argue against what I'm going to say. Comrade G. Bowers Matthew lived the life that a public servant lived. You know that another Liberian who already lived and died walking in your house, he died poor. But he spoke and lived what he believed. We wanted to see that people are sent to power and don't use power for the president and aggrandizement. Use power to improve the life and livelihood of the entire population. And you know, I tell you one thing, if you see what I do today, if there are people who are benefiting from what I do in Nigeria, don't look up to me, look up to you. But it's from you that I get my inspiration, I have my inspiration. Be a servant to our people and not to make my people to be my servant. So the progressive idea is doing it alive. It's giving us democracy. It's taking the power from the hands of a minority oligarch, a hegemony that denies the rights of the majority of the people. And now it has given power to the broad.
Hallelujah to my King. Hallelujah to my Father. Hallelujah to my Jesus. I bow before the throne. When I look at all the wonder and I see all the creation, the beauty of the universe, you never change. You never lie. You never change. You never fail. Hallelujah to my Jesus. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
I'm Isaac Zawolo. I am an instructor here at the Arlington Career Center. I'm an instructor of mathematics. Mostly I teach the dual enrollment math classes for the Arlington Career Center. I've been here in Arlington for about 16 years. I originally come from Liberia, a small country on the west coast of Africa. It was established by free slaves from the United States. In Liberia, I'm involved with a series of educational projects. I own 2 schools, an elementary school in the capital city, Monrovia, and a secondary school about 40 kilometers outside of Monrovia in a little town where I grew up called Kakata. Well, the secondary school is called Giddings Polytechnic Academy. It's located about 40 kilometers outside of Monrovia.
Now, what makes Giddings Polytechnic Academy to be the best school is that at the Giddings Polytechnic Academy, we are introduced to electives such as drafting, nursing, business, journalism and creative writing, and agriculture. That's not all. We are also having a free access to the internet, and we are also introduced to ICT, that is the information communication technology.
The school is changing lives. Our parents are coming to the school and they are telling us, one, our teachers are consistently in class. Our students, the school is fenced, so our students remain on campus for the most of the day. The level of instruction, I've been told, is at the highest possible level for Liberia. In fact, it is projected that our enrollment will increase from 230 to about 500 for the next academic year. We are seeking help when it comes to technology, as I indicated. Any kind of resources that will help students to do better, textbooks, use textbooks, anything that will help ease the situation of our students. Anything will be appreciated. No, I look forward to seeing a relationship being built between the school in Liberia and our community here in Arlington. I consider Arlington my second home, and so, I would want to see my two homes connecting.
That's it right there. I will want to see my two homes connecting. And I think if I can borrow the prophetic word of the Professor Zawolo, that we potentially seeing those two homes being connected. And that is, if he goes back to Liberia, to where, if hopefully by the grace of God, if he takes the exam, that's the connection that he's making, and that has come to pass. And so that's something we must really mark down. If you look at his profile, all about him is to empower someone, to mentally give them the ability to think wise, prepare them for the good future of our country. So YS is a social, educational advocates in all areas. It's not an overnight event. This is something that he has been on from time to time. And I think, but we hope and pray, and like Samson said, when you are called, you must be given the courtesy. He must have access to the president of the Republic of Liberia. If the school system is to be revised, if the educational program within the Moravia Consolidated School System, MCSS, and guess what? And if that happens, if they give in the power, the support, that idea can be transformed to the educational, that will help the educational program. What else can he do? That's all. That has been his argument to build out the educational foundations in the sciences. And that's, if he call, I'm quite sure he's going to use his contact here. But that, I guarantee, that cannot happen if the support is not coming, if the support will not come from the higher up. Don't just give people assignment and turn your back. No, that's not auto A. It comes with a lot. And that support is in all angles: money, the resources. You must give him the ability to run that institution as an autonomous agency of government. And that second person should be there to get an instruction from him. Yes, he can share notes with the Minister of Education, who happens to be his immediate boss, and they must work together. And the president or national government should support it. And I said, the education, the health, the economic, is where all of these problems are coming from. Those three major arms or components, if they are strengthened, believe me, you can have a vibrant country. If teachers are not going on strike, what do you think is going to happen? The parents are unhappy when their children are not in schools. What do you think is going to happen? They are part of the integer, they constitute a good component of the society. The parents, they are the same marketeers. What happened when their children are in school? When people just taking school fees, making laws any kind of way, and nobody is saying anything. Those are things that are creating problems in the country. So it is time to get to tap into the professions of experts, people who are willing to give back, not on condition, but they are willing to do it with authenticity. And I have no doubt this guy that I've dealt with for quite a while now, before even coming on LPR, and that's what I admire him so greatly, his conviction, his sense of humor within him. I remember a couple of years ago, we conducted an election that he participated in. Under the Unions of Liberian Association, ULA, when I once served as the commissioner, that election was held right in his own backyard. Guess what? He did not win the election. Not that everything was 100%, because I don't care what happened. People always on the losing end frowned on commissioners of some sort of cheating. But he accepted, not just only accepted, but all funds that were collected during his campaign, after we announced that result, Professor Zawolo turned that money over to the coming administration immediately when that result was announced. Immediately. How many of these people have done that? Community advocates, community actors, or community, they collect people money, they don't make report. When you ask them, they tell you any kind of thing. Yet they say they are advocates. Yet they say they believe in social justice. So this guy, he has laid his foundation. I'm not putting my life on the line for him. He's 100%. But from what I know, he's a guy with credibility. Cool, quiet guy. So I'm just hoping that the call is genuine and that the support should be given to him. I want to thank you so much, and I will wish him best of luck. But notwithstanding, if he accepts that position, when he comes here, he will answer tough questions. That's not going to give him the pass. As a contributor of this Liberia Public Radio, it will be an easy pass to come here and give him questions like Samson told, preparing peanut butter and jelly for his the younger one. Until then, have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
Hallelujah. The highest praise. Hallelujah. Give him the highest praise.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Love is all we need to make it see. This is the time to come together. Keep Liberia safe forever. So open up your heart, let the unity begin. Love is all we need to make it stand. Let's cultivate one another. Learn to live together as brothers and sisters. Without togetherness, we won't have a peace of mind. Unify and have a peaceful, sweet Liberia, land of liberty.
Everybody, everything's going bad. The situation getting worse. Everybody in the country getting mad. Dishonesty, poverty on the rise. The leaders them making into promises. Promises with no damn strategies. Yeah, this is better days. Better days, money in the pockets. Oh, after holidays. Holidays only for the bosses. Yeah, this is better days. Better days, money in your pockets. Holidays only for the bosses, the bosses, the bosses. Whoa, yo! Hey, what about the children? What about the people? What about your families? What are they gonna eat? Yeah, so Seppi and we waiting. Uh-oh. Yeah, so. They don't really care about you. They don't care my people, it's true. They don't want to see you break through. The whole country's getting confused. Corruption